You know, it's been fucking years, but I am still waiting for the sequel to Kangaroo Jack. It's known as Marsupial Joe.
It's a good
But
film.
more than that, I am waiting for the prequel called Pouch Having Pete.
I would watch that.
I was kind of reaching for something there because I couldn't think of synonyms for marsupials.
Clearly.
But the point of this is that for a while there, people were bitching about sequels a lot.
Yeah.
And now they're bitching about remakes a lot.
Yeah.
And reboots.
Yeah.
And I get it, you know. We do have a lot of sequels. We definitely have a lot of remakes going on nowadays. And reboots galore. It's a thing. It's happening.
Yep.
But you know what kind of never happened, but is still happening?
Yeah.
Prequels.
Yeah.
I mean, they've kind of always been around. But, nobody ever really goes, gee, I wish we had less prequels.
That's true.
But nobody ever goes, gee, I wish we had more prequels either.
It's just kind of in the middle.
Yeah, they just kind of happen every now and then, and they mostly go under the radar, and, more often than not, they're forgotten about and or just disregarded.
With some exceptions.
With some exceptions. But we're going to just talk about the prequel phenomenon. We're going to cover every prequel ever because... we don't have a million years. We're just going to talk about some of our favorites and some of our not so favorites. And not in any particular order. We're just going to chat it up. But I think we could blame the prequel resurgence, if you will. Because before this one event, they happened every now and then. But after this one event, they started happening a lot more consistently. Though still rare, they still happened a lot more consistently after the prequels. When you say the prequels everybody knows what you're talking about, and that's, of course, the horrible fucking Star Wars prequels. I'm just going to say it right there. Now, I know I'm going to have some Warsies come after me. Yes, before anybody goes, we don't call ourselves Warsies. There was somebody once that said, and there was a little movement
to call themselves Warsies.
Yeah, and it wasn't even in a magazine, and I laughed so hard at that. The point is, I'm not a Warsie.
Yeah, clearly.
I do like Trek, but that doesn't mean I'm opposed to Star Wars. I do like Star Wars. I like Empire. I like Rogue One. Sue me on that.
That's about it.
But that's about it. But yeah, no.
I've warmed up to the series.
I see the merits of some of them, but what was inexcusable to me was the prequels. They're horrid. For all this time, we were waiting years, and even I, who wasn't too big on Star Wars, I was waiting for these things to come back. Now I should have known better because George Lucas.
You're excited about the Darth Maul, and he wasn't in the movie.
I was look. I'll grant you. I'll give you this. This is why I was excited for Darth Maul. Lucas purposely teased that Christopher Walken was going to play Darth Maul, and there was no images of him for a while. So I was like, oh man, Darth Maul, this is going to be cool, right? Christopher fucking Walken.
Yeah. This
is bound to be rad. Turns out it wasn't.
Nope.
And it was also not rad.
Nope.
How we got it. I mean, it was cool looking. And technically, if he would have... I mean, I thought so. It was all right,
It was all right.
It's better looking than most of the aliens. But, it was like...
his design was fine, yeah.
All right. So, like, he dies. Cool.
Yeah, instantly does nothing. Is in there for like 9 minutes and sucks ass.
I mean, granted, he did more than Boba Fett, so there's that.
That's a good point.
Zing, you Boba Fett loving fucks. But the point is... We got these fucking prequels, and yeah. I think it says it best when I went to the showing. And first of all, one of my proudest moments in life was I walked by all these tents and just people just standing there all unshaven and smelling like ass. Because
they're there, by the way.
Just in general.
Just because they smell like ass.
But waiting in line for months added to that, so that's fun. But I just walk by them and I buy my ticket and I go in and I sit down and then they let them in. And I was like, well, yeah. I mean, I guess you could have done that. Yep. But the point is, I sat there and I said, of open mind, I said, let's see what happens. Lucas doesn't have the studio in his hair this time.
They should have been.
That's sad when you got to say, you need some studio involvement in this bitch, because... Boy, howdy, was I fucking bored and disgusted.
Yep.
It was awful.
People say the Phantom Menace is the worst prequel of all time. I disagree. I think the second one is. Because with the first one, when rewatching with The Guardian, at least I had some fun in mocking it, and I wasn't bored. I was like, this sucks, but there was like camaraderie in us thinking it sucked.
Right.
And thus it was somewhat fun, even though it was shit. The sequel, the sequel, prequel, whatever, episode 2, complete garbage. Freaking there's no redeeming factors until the last 15 minutes, and even that is kind of shit because it looks like a crappy cartoon.
Yeah, the effects were like shockingly bad, man.
Yeah, like
and
really
consider
bad.
how much money they sunk into this, and the ILM was behind it. You at least, I mean, you can't even say they were good for the time.
No, they're bad for the time.
They're just the badness piles up to the point where it's like a bitter taste.
There's scenes in I don't remember what it's called, Attack of the Clones.
Yeah,
that look worse than stuff in Phantom Menace.
Oh yeah, I mean because there's so much going on that,
and it's sad because the only effective scene, which again is those last 15 minutes, it just sucks because it looks like a cartoon. But that is a little bit effective. The problem is that should have started the movie.
Yeah, no shit. How about ending this movie? Oh man, is this leading to the?
Yeah,
nope.
And actually having like an atmosphere of Palpatine rising to power, and you're like, oh shit, something's gonna happen, and then it ends.
Yep. And then, of course, all the cool stuff happens in the cartoon.
Yeah, which apparently was good.
Yeah, what the fuck was that shit? Terrible sequel to a prequel, which is still a prequel. And then we had Attack of the Clone. I mean, I'm sorry, we had what's the fuck it called? Bullshit Jedi.
The third one.
You're the Star Wars expert here.
Revenge of the Sith? No.
Yes, right?
Whatever, the third one.
The fucking third piece of shit sequel
which, I gotta say, I didn't hate. Because it seemed like someone else directed it. It actually had some nice looking shots every once in a while. There was restraint shown in scenes. There was literally a scene where me and the Guardian sat there and was looking at it. And there was actual emotion felt. And I was like, holy shit, they're actually doing something. And then off the corner of the screen, I saw C-3PO bot walking.
Oh, man.
And I was like, they're going to ruin it. They're going to freaking ruin it. And then it just cuts away. And I was like, what? What the shit? He didn't ruin it? And that freaking blew my mind, dude. Because it actually had some feeling behind it, and he didn't ruin it.
Now, if we know anything about cinema, we know that George Lucas is... I mean, he's a human being, so he is affected by what people say.
Yeah.
And he's expressed that on various times. It's almost like he was beaten down by the time the third prequel came out. And he did cave into some pressure from the distributor, which was Fox. Now, mind you, they're the distributors, and they said, dude, something doesn't change here. This is not going well, So he caved into a lot of stuff in terms of fan expectations and the distributor, I should say. And that was a good thing.
Yeah.
Because, damn, Lucas Unrestrained gave us fucking Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones.
There is some shitty shit in there, like within the first bit. I will say this: the first bit in which they're going, Anakin and Obi-Wan are attacking, you felt more camaraderie in that one scene than the entire prequel, the other two prequels.
Oh, that's maybe because they wasted all the other shit on him being a lame kid, one, and two, him being a bratty teen.
Yeah, so
in love, no less.
Again, that's like another thing where it's like instantly you're like, okay, he somehow did this and failed in the other two movies. But there is a lot of dumb humor in it still, especially in the beginning. There's like pointless CG set pieces that are just hideous. But for the most part, it's more restrained than the previous two. And I actually like it better than Return of the Jedi, because Return of the Jedi is shit.
Yeah, I would say that's probably what I would say too. But honestly, I'd rather not watch either of them. But yeah, Return of the Jedi would be more disappointing in the sense that
the build-up was so good.
Yeah, it had everything set for it to go, and then you give us half of a good movie. If that, like maybe a third of a good movie.
Yeah, third really good, the rest is shit.
Yeah, the rest is garbage.
Whereas the episode 3 is a little more consistently, I'm not going to say cool, but a little more consistently less shit than the previous two.
Yeah, I would agree. But overall, we can agree
the prequels suck.
That the prequels fucking stink, and they ruined a lot of good stuff, and they glossed over stuff we wanted to see.
Yeah. And they retcon shit like the midichlorian shit, where it's just like, what? Just completely destroy the Force.
Yes. Talk about reducing something mythical to shit
Yeah.
in an instant.
And they don't look like they even belong in the same universe.
Yeah, that's another thing. Nothing. Now, you could argue that from movie to movie in the Star Wars universe. For example, I think the only movie that feels like a real place and real events is Rogue One. It just felt real. That's the first time I ever felt that universe feel like substantial and like something that could exist or did exist. But that's not to rob anything from like Empire or something, something like that. They have a feeling of something anyway.
Yeah.
These just felt like a machine churned them out, and then they were like, oh, well, that's not stupid looking enough. Let's add some more stupidity to this, and they achieved that because they stunk.
Yep.
And now we're not just jumping out. We're known to not jump on bandwagons.
It's true.
We took a controversial stance on Ghostbusters.
We're known for a DC love.
We love the DC universe, but there's just no excuses for the fucking prequels. They were terrible, especially considering.
And I would even say I had a controversial thought there. I thought Episode 3 is better than freaking Return of the Jedi.
Yeah. That being said, still garbage.
But
it did. For better or for worse, they did start a little fad, or they brought the prequel idea back to the forefront of filmmaking. So every now and then, and this is what's confusing to me, we'll get like 4 sequels, and all of a sudden
there's a prequel.
Underworld
did it,
and sometimes it's a mixed. You can't even say it's a mixed response because people generally just forget about a prequel. And
there's like a little bit of hate there in the beginning, but then after that, it's no one cares.
But let's talk about some of the prequels that have come out since the prequels. First of all, actually, let's talk about some of the ones before that we enjoyed. I think the one that immediately came to my mind, and it was the same for you as you mentioned this as we were preparing for the video, is Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom.
Yeah. Now,
this is probably the Indiana Jones movie I've watched the most because as a kid I loved it. I know a lot of people dislike it.
Yeah.
But it was my favorite for a long time until I realized one day.
Well, Raiders is a better movie.
Yeah, Raiders is a better. I mean, I knew that inherently before, but then there was that click moment where I go, man, it's too good to just be, ravenously watching Temple of Doom over and over again. And
that being said, we did own the Temple of Doom tape, and we wore that baby out hardcore.
Yeah, I absolutely love Temple of Doom. It's fucking fun as shit, and it's just crazy wildness. Yeah. But
I didn't realize it was a prequel for a long time, despite the fact that it says 1935 in the beginning.
Yeah, you just kind of shrug that off.
It's just another adventure.
Yeah, and that's why that prequel I think worked. Because first of all, one, you don't even fucking realize it.
Yeah.
But two, it gave that feeling of this man being the world-trotting adventurer that he was. You know, it was not what you expected. Maybe you expect some more Nazi hijinks. I know that's why a lot of people bitched about it.
Yeah.
Oh, this is too wild. This is too what is this? This is too wacky. But I dug that, man.
Yeah, it was
cool.
I
like it has a lot of horror elements, which I dug. But I really dug that. But yeah, it was for me years later that I was like, wait a minute, this shit takes place way before.
Yeah.
The hell? So that was kind of like a moment of realization that I was unaware of. Another one that I was kind of unaware of for a while was The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. I don't recall if you've seen it or not. But that was one of them.
Don't remember it.
But again, the prequel thing is a bit more subtle in it and, not really relevant to what's going on. Later, post the prequels, we will get the more integrated prequel. The more, oh, look, you can watch this after you watch the first one. But really, if you watched it before the first one, you'd be like, huh? Why was any of this relevant type of prequel, And that one's kind of like a give or take. Like, how does that function, But we'll let's talk about that. Any prequels that come to mind that you fucking hate off the top of your head?
Off the top of my head, sure, there's a couple. Alien sucks dinglings.
Alien Covenant, we've talked about this, and of course, it's fucking terrible.
Yeah, if you want our thoughts, check out our worst movies of the year.
That being said, we did enjoy the prequel in its nascent state, which is Prometheus.
Yes.
Because Alien Covenant is a sequel to a prequel. So it's
still a prequel.
But it's a sequel to a prequel, which is still a prequel, like you said.
Yeah.
That's just got confusing. The point is, we loved Prometheus.
Yeah.
because it was this other thing. You know, it was different. And again, as we mentioned before, it was saddled with the burden of being part of a universe. So people had expectations. Yeah. People wanted this and that. And that led to the ultimate disappointment, which was Alien Covenant. So yeah, that was very disappointing.
And there's Wolverine Origins.
Yes.
So one of the worst movies we've seen theatrically.
It's ironic that Wolverine Origins was the first X-Men prequel, but subsequently, the other X-Men prequels have become much more accepted. Most notably for us, I think, would be First Class.
Yeah, I love First Class.
You know, and of course, people loved Days of Future Past. Apocalypse got like a whatever reception. Yeah. But generally, they're liked. On the other hand, Wolverine Origins is an atrocity.
Yeah, it's shit.
I think the red, the fucking red light for this should have been the director doesn't like comics.
Yeah.
And that's fine. You know, I should say it's fine for the director not to know about the comic before he gets involved in the project, or maybe he's not a comics guy per se, but he is a filmmaker. They could add their own specific flavor to it. That's fine. But this guy adamantly hated comics.
Yeah.
He thought they were stupid. He thought they were pointless. Why would you hire that guy? I don't care what good history he has. He openly states that he hates the medium.
Yep.
And what do you get? You get a piece of crap movie.
Yeah.
That's nothing.
That killed the plans to make other prequels.
Origin movies, yeah. And, the thing is, he hates the medium, but he adopted the things in the medium that would translate as completely silly on screen.
Yeah.
So I don't understand. And then I remember reading an interview with him where he said that he realized that comics were like Greek tragedies, but you made a movie that's nothing like that. So why is that relevant?
Yep.
But let's talk about what you hated.
This freaking movie sucks. It had to give origins to everything.
Yeah, even the fucking jacket.
There's an origin to the jacket. There's a freaking the effects were somehow worse than part one's. It sucked ass. It shoehorned characters. This is the first time we saw, other than part 3, which they did, but this is the first time that it annoyed me. The shoehorning of other X-Men in there, just because, even if it doesn't make sense, because of the time period, freaking sucked. Deadpool was the biggest,
Deadpool
misstep.
I remember being so excited that Ryan Reynolds was cast as Deadpool. And of course, we had seen X-Men 1, 2, and 3, which, to some degree or another excited us. And, in other words, there was, up to this point, there was no precedent for us to go, we should completely fear this thing, I know part 3 wasn't well received, but, we didn't mind it. It had its moments, despite its flaws, but whatever, I'm okay with being fluid with adaptations of comic books.
Yeah.
I have to be, no matter what everybody else says, because we get super fluid adaptations anyway.
Yeah, every Marvel movie is pretty much a bad adaptation of a comic story.
Yeah. Albeit sometimes they do it better, of course.
Oh, yeah,
but the point is...
They're bad adaptations.
Yeah. But the point is here, I was ready for Deadpool, is what I was getting at.
Yep.
And...
they sewed his mouth.
He has like 3 fucking lines or something. I don't know, 5, 6 lines maybe. None of them are witty because it's before he fully Deadpoolizes. Yeah. And then when he becomes Deadpool, what is he? What is this Deadpool? Who is this guy? Why does he look like a weird, he's a burned clown guy with a...
He was like a Frankenstein made out of a bunch of different... Except it sucked ass.
It was terrible, man.
Yep.
It was so bad that nobody gave a shit when they just completely erased that.
Yeah. And
made fun of it in the movie. Even though it was it's supposed to be a very tongue-in-cheek movie, they still make fun of it blatantly and nobody cared. It was a good... Fuck X-Men Wolverine Origins.
And how Will I Am.
Yeah, God, man. The amount of people, like you said, just shoehorning shit in. Everybody was in this. The fucking Blob, Cyclops for fucking reason.
White Queen for some reason.
Yeah. Gambit. What the fuck? Why was he in there?
Yeah, that was bad.
And at that time, they were planning to bring Gambit in.
That's what I'm telling you. The timeline makes no sense. Like, why is Gambit... He would have had to be like freaking 60 or some shit if they brought him in.
Yeah. It's just horrible, man.
The worst part is it ruined Liev Schreiber as Sabretooth.
Yeah. Uh, absolutely. I mean, who wouldn't have loved to see that again? And it just really ruined Sabretooth in general. They never brought him back. They just kind of said, yeah, well,
That was a
kind of
thing.
forget that.
Yep.
It never happened. Yeah, I mean, he was one of the few saving. I mean, Hugh Jackman's always great as Wolverine.
But yeah,
It's just
he couldn't
even
save
here.
that.
Yeah, even here, some of the stuff was like, well, what is that?
Yeah.
You know,
And it wasn't his fault,
no, it was just
but that pose
yeah. Let's just inexplicably pose like this
for hours.
for 10 years before attacking. Just some horrible choices overall. Terrible, just a horrid script. It's everywhere. It's hopping all over the place.
Effects or shit. Nothing's good.
The effects are horrible. Why does everybody fly in this fucking thing?
Yeah.
I'm serious. These fights were like mid-air clashes for some reason. Like, dude, what the hell is this? What's with the airtime? What's Michael Jordan?
It's not good.
It was terrible, man.
It was pretty good.
You know, First Class kind of
First
made up
Class
for
was
it.
great. I loved First Class. And when you saw it without subtitles, which is kind of an important part because most of the dialogue is in another language, at least most of Magneto's.
And I was
is.
like, oh, okay, well, the German I could get through, and then there was French.
Yeah,
and I
there
was
was
like, oh,
Russian. Yeah.
there we go.
And yet, still good.
Yeah, fantastic movie, man. From Matthew Vaughn,
Yep.
who brought us one of the worst sequels ever, Kingsman.
Yep.
But and you could say the same for the other two. I mean, not so much Apocalypse, but you could say the same for the Future Past. So that's a good example of some good prequels that came out of a piece of shit prequel. So it can happen, and then it can just flop, or vice versa. You know.
Yep.
Speaking of flops,
Yep.
there's a prequel that came out of a piece of shit movie
Which
that
one?
was a sequel,
Which one was that one?
and that's The Scorpion King,
Oh wow, yeah, that was a film.
which was a prequel to a horrible sequel, The Mummy Returns.
I love The Mummy.
Mm-hmm.
I still think The Mummy is great.
Yeah.
I recently rewatched it with my mother. We rewatched the whole trilogy, and anybody who says the third one is the worst freaking sucks because the second one is horrible. And this was a prequel to that.
Yep. Yeah, I don't even understand why they would want a prequel to it. Everybody thought pretty much The Mummy Returns was shit.
Yeah.
And even those people that didn't were like, that was it for the Scorpion King?
Yeah.
Like,
He's not even the same character.
yeah. And then, I mean, what? Who gives a shit?
Yep.
And then he turns into a big effect.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, then we get a prequel, which, you know, and The Rock even lobbied for this.
Yeah.
He should have been the bad version of himself, or at least the marauding badass.
Yeah,
That was
instead you get like a
pre-established.
weird, goofy guy.
Yeah, he's like this goofy, lovable barbarian,
Yeah.
you know, and he's trekking across the desert, having adventures and such.
Big Mike is there for some reason.
Yeah, it was really pointless because you could have just made another movie with
Yeah.
that theme, because he wasn't the character that he ultimately becomes, and you can't even see him becoming that. So it's just like, who gives a shit?
Yeah.
This is not even the Scorpion King. This is just a guy that has the title in the movie, The Scorpion King. And needless to say, they had to follow that up with like 1,000 direct-to-video sequels, of which I saw one, and I was like, that's it, I'm done. This is fucking uber shit. I thought the movie, and granted, the first time I saw the movie, I was like, it was all right.
Yeah, you bought it.
You know, I bought it, and I watched the longer cut, and I was like, man, it was okay.
And then a couple years later, we rewatched it, and we're like, man,
Nope.
this is not good.
It wasn't good.
It's freaking shit, actually.
But yeah, you thought that was bad. The sequels to that, which are also prequels, woo dogs, that shit was horrid. Man, it's not even worth mentioning it was that bad. And they have like different guys, and each one playing the fucking Scorpion King. Terrible, man. But I'll tell you what. Speaking of big budget movies that eventually spawned a sequel that was actually a prequel, here's one that I liked. And I even like it kind of a lot more than it's... Now, granted, I haven't seen movies after this one, but I did see the ones before it, of course. I liked it more than the part 2 to this. And maybe even sometimes more than the part 1 to this. And that's Underworld 3, which was really Underworld the prequel, Rise of the Lycans. And I don't know if you saw this or not,
Mm.
but I thoroughly enjoyed this. And then, it was just a throwback to the story of, what was his name? Lucian, the werewolf guy from part one.
Lucius? My dog Lucius?
My dog, Lucius. Yeah, it was just a throwback to the love story that spawned the war between vampires and wolves. And it was really fucking badass, man. I really thoroughly enjoyed the movie. And it did something that the sequel kind of got wrong. The sequel thought bigger is better. And I enjoyed part two. But there was times where I was like, all right, you could just, reel it back a little and it'd be a little better, But Rise of the Lycans kept it very basic. It didn't depend heavily on special effects, though it is very effects laden. But it was much more subdued affair, and it took its subject matter seriously and the world that it had created seriously, which was really neat, man. And it was just neat to see the origins of this conflict. And it brought an interesting question to... I'm just going to ignore that because fuck Wolverine. But it brought an interesting question to mind, and is, would it have worked had it been the first movie in the series? And I think for this one, it would have, But that's a question that comes to me the more prequels I see. Would this have worked by itself if it was the first installment? I think Rise of the Lycans is one of those that would have. Whereas something like, say, Scorpion King would have been like, oh, how did the follow-up be there? It would have, it would have spawned a completely different series. But anyway, here's another. I mean, you could count this one as a prequel, sorta, but really, it's kind of like one of those, like, it's everywhere now. So who knows what the fuck? But Oz the Great and Powerful was supposed to be a prequel to The Wizard of Oz. The thing is you're kind of like at odds as to what iteration of Wizard of Oz. Is it a prequel to the movie? Is it a prequel to the books? It's kind of both.
Yeah.
Because it takes elements and it uses elements of both to kind of formulate itself. Now, I know you haven't seen this movie, but I actually really enjoyed this movie, man. It kind of reminded me like what they would do if this was kind of like a modern stage play, only, with a more cinematic flair. Now, there was at times when the special effects were a bit much, to the point where Oz didn't feel too magical, but that's kind of an odd thing to say, and it may be a biased thing to say, because my reference point is the Wizard of Oz movie, the classic movie.
Yeah.
I'm so used to that, and I think as a culture we're so used to that.
Yeah, that's the hard thing that any like sequel or remake has to get past is the look of the original.
Especially with something so classic and ingrained in our memory.
Even though it wasn't the originals.
Yeah.
Actually, like the third one, but whatever. That's the one everybody remembers.
Yeah, that's definitely the one everybody remembers. It's the one that's beloved. So I guess my feeling of the magical wonder of Oz is that weird kind of staged look of that movie. So that's kind of like a bias. But I would be really interested to see what you think about it, because I actually really enjoyed it, man. And I thought the stuff they did with the witches was pretty damn neat. I greatly enjoyed it. And that's considering it had some really odd casting choices that I thought weren't going to work, but then they did, like James Franco as
yeah, it is weird.
Yeah, as Oz, and Mila Kunis as one of the witches. They're just some strange choices that I didn't think were going to work, but I was pretty surprised and I was pretty pleased by it. So I'll tell you what I wasn't pleased by. I'll tell you what I wasn't pleased by, and that's this really shouldn't count as a prequel, but I guess it counts as a cinematic prequel, and that is The Hobbit.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? Now, in literature, The Hobbit predates The Lord of the Rings, obviously. But in the movies were well set and established, and there's only so much of The Hobbit you can adapt before you go, all right, well, I'm done. That's the movie,
It's this big.
Yeah, so you take your liberties. So I count it as a prequel because he added, Peter Jackson and company added a lot of substance to it to make the world bigger, the events bigger, and to link them into the universe that they were tied into. So I definitely count this as a prequel. And it had that air, like of revisiting worlds that you were familiar with. In fact, that's what the promotional said. The last chance to see Middle Earth, and it was revisiting something you were familiar with, which is the point of a prequel. Let's revisit the roots of something. Something. That's
Something.
Right. And so I sat down and finally saw it.
Yep.
And I gotta say,
kind of stunk.
I didn't like the first one.
Yep.
Now, that's not to say
you didn't hate it.
No, I don't hate it. It's not a total loss. As a Tolkien fan, I love a lot of stuff in it. What I don't like is that it's literally
10,000 hours of people sitting.
Yeah, it literally said, "Hey, you know that part in the book where people just fucking sit and talk for 10 trillion years?"
You just explained our channel, by the way.
Yeah, let's make that into a whole movie.
Yeah.
And
so it's basically what you're saying here. It's
The Hobbit.
The Hobbit is $10 Slammer, the film.
Yeah, man, we made that movie apparently because it's just fucking assholes talking and eating.
We don't eat.
The thing is here, look, in the book, it comes off as whimsical. It's a kid's book, so it comes off as whimsical and nice, and you're being introduced to the idea of dwarves and hobbits.
Yeah, so it's kind of you forgive it.
Yeah. You need to know how hobbits and dwarves behave.
But at this point, you're like, dude, we already had that 8-hour scene in the Fellowship in the Shire. We don't need another one.
We already know how these people behave. We don't need to reestablish their quirks and eccentricities again.
Now, I haven't seen this movie because I remember the promotional material relied heavily on the quirkiness of the dwarves, and it pissed me off. And they also, I saw the trailer on, what was it, 40, whatever, the frame rate they did?
Oh, yeah.
And it looked awful.
Yeah, they did shoot it at a higher frame rate, which, really elevated the experience of watching it in 3D.
Yeah, but it looks like shit.
Yeah, when you saw it just with normal old peepers, and it looked like a soap opera.
I remember seeing the trailer in the theater and dying a little. But, so I didn't see it. You saw it.
Yeah.
And you told me it sucked.
Yeah. Again, there's a lot in here that I fucking absolutely love. But, man.
Goblin King?
Yeah. And, it wasn't just the fact that we were reintroduced to the idea of hobbits and dwarves when we already knew that stuff. And look, even then, it would have been fine to have all that scene if what they portrayed carried their characters along.
Yeah.
It doesn't. It doesn't do anything to their characters. It's
there to be there.
Yeah. In fact, most of the character growth comes in part 2. But
which is the one I saw.
Yeah. But there was a lot of saving graces in the movie that I don't hate the movie. I just dislike this movie could have been an hour and a half shorter than it was. Mind you, I saw the extended cut, but I think the extended cut of part 1 only adds like 10 minutes.
Yep.
The point is, it was fucking long. There was shit in there that didn't need to be in there because we already were familiar with stuff. And that Goblin King dancing sequence fucking blew my nuts. Man, it sucked.
Yeah,
it was bad. But, again, the movie as a whole is not horrible. It's just a victim of circumstance.
Yeah.
Now, that being said, I absolutely loved part 2, and I loved the shit out of part 3.
I liked part 2. I loved part 3.
Yeah, so in
part
the
3
end,
kicks ass. Part 3 works even it kind of works like as a standalone even, I think. I mean, obviously you need to know some of the characters, but at that point most of the storylines kind of end in the sequel and then in the second one. So I thought the third one kind of was good as a standalone. And you get badass action again.
Yeah, it's one of those things. They formatted just the same as the original Lord of the Rings trilogy, where it's build up, payoff and build up, and then ultimate payoff.
Yeah.
And except that here our first one is, oh boy, they're really building this up and not in a good way. And then, oh good, they've righted the ship and some payoff. And then,
even though it does end in a cliffhanger, I believe, the second one.
Mm-hmm.
You get the resolution in the beginning of the third.
Yeah.
It's like freaking, it was really good.
Yeah, it was one of those where ultimately you feel justified.
Yeah.
Despite the flaws of the first one. So it wasn't a total loss, of course. And, I should say especially because of 2 and 3. But, damn, that first one, doubt.
Yeah.
So now here's the problem now. now the entire series is kind of besmirched by the fact that you have to start with an unexpected journey.
Yeah.
You're kind of like, well, damn it, man. Oh, man. And you still got to see it, by the way.
Yeah.
And it's going to happen because it's kind of necessary, but yeah, it's going to happen. Maybe the fact that I've
I don't know,
so
man.
much loathed
I don't know.
this will help you like kind of go, it's not that bad.
Maybe.
But we'll see. Let's talk about a prequel that I didn't even get through 1 millisecond of.
Okay.
And that's Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah.
No, wait. Well, that's what it was, right?
Yeah, Dumb and Dumber when Harry met Lloyd.
No.
That was Dumb and Dumber 2.
Yeah, what was that one called?
Dumb and Dumber 2.
No,
T.O.
it wasn't 2. Oh, yeah. Oh, man.
How do you forget this?
They both sucked.
Yep. Or Dumb and Dumb. Yeah, whatever. It doesn't matter.
The point is, Dumb and Dumber 2. No, wait. Dumb and Dumber
Yeah.
is a fucking terrible prequel that should have never been made. Now, I will grant them one concession, and is that they got a guy that physically resembles Jim Carrey quite a bit.
That's true.
But that's nothing when the fucking movie sucks complete donkey dicks.
Yep.
And is a complete waste of time. And I mean, you'd think.
Let's just say this. Our lame-ass brother who loves Dumb and Dumber to a annoying degree hated it.
Yeah, that says something because he doesn't have very good movie taste.
Yeah.
And I mean, you could argue Dumb and Dumber is not a good movie in terms of, being a tasteful movie because it's pretty filthy.
This is a person that like grown-ups. So.
But, even then, you're like, man, this prequel fucking sucks on epic levels. And it wasn't just restricted to the lack of Jim Carrey or anything like that. It was just, literally, it's a bad movie.
Yep.
From start to finish. Which, unfortunately, I haven't seen it, to be fair, but the Dumb and Dumber, the follow-up...
Oh, Dumb and Dumber 2.
I'm sorry, Dumb and Dumber 2, the follow-up, was a movie that I also didn't get through because I gave up on that son of a bitch right
second
away.
in.
Yeah, literally a second in. This is, it was like literally like I can't do it. I just got the bad air. Now I don't know, it might be good, but
probably not.
I got the bad air.
Yep, the bad air, like the one that's coming up from my ass.
Now here's a movie that's oft maligned, and there's actually 2 of these, but both of them were kind of hated, and that's the Exorcist prequel.
Yeah, there's 2 of those.
There are 2 of them. One written and directed by Paul Schrader, who wrote Taxi Driver, and he was originally going to direct the movie, period. But he came across some complications from the studio, and I was saddened to hear that because Paul Schrader again wrote Taxi Driver, which is one of my favorite movies of all time, and he's a well-renowned writer, and I was like, man. Studios, especially Morgan Creek released it. They're renowned for fiddling with the product.
Yep.
And
diddling with it.
I was like, well, that's a fucking shame, man. What's gonna happen now? And then they just reshoot the entire movie, reshoot the entire movie with Rennie Harlan, who at the time and for a long time has been one of those directors that everybody hates, and I think unjustly so. I mean, he's not the A-class director, but he's directed some fun stuff, in my opinion, as well as duds here and there. And now his career's such on the down low. He just basically directed for hire now.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, it was alarming. I was like, damn, they got rid of this Academy Award winning writer and bitched about it. In my head, it was like they didn't like the serious, solemn tone of it. It was too wordy for them. It was too alike.
It was too good.
Yeah, it was too good. It was too like the Blatty classic, the Friedkin classic, that they didn't think it was marketable to modern audiences. That was what was going on in my head. Now, you saw some of this movie.
I did.
And it seems that...
Now, to be fair, I didn't see any of the story parts.
How does that work?
Because I literally just saw the beginning, the first 10 minutes, because I was in a place in which horror was not to be spoken of unless the people were apart, which makes zero sense, by the way. Anyway, saw the first 10 minutes, and I was like, all right, I mean, this could be cool. But then those hyenas come in, and you're like, woo, those effects stink. But it might be a good movie. It might just have unfinished effects or whatever.
Yeah, and it definitely had that. However, now again, I haven't seen it, and I will eventually one day see it.
Mm-hmm.
But the consensus seems to be that it is a bit sluggish.
Yeah, I hear it's very slow.
It is kind of confusing at times and kind of pointless at times, and that ultimately it feels like nothing happened, and it just seems that the movie was genuinely not something fantastic, and so they said, "Fuck this, let's scrap it." Now they did have a big burden on their backs, and that's the fact that they're trying to make a prequel to one of the best movies of all time, the best horror movie of all time. If it's not, it's pretty damn close to it, and one of the best movies of all time. I mean, it's got a hefty load on it. So I think whoever directed this movie, short of the movie being beyond genius, it was going to be saddled with a bad name.
Yeah.
So that was a lot. And then they hired Rennie Harlin, the guy who at the time, everybody was still on the Cutthroat Island thing. They hated his entry into the Nightmare on Elm Street series, etc. And he was renowned more for these action movies and stuff like that. So people were like, oh, well, that's going to suck. And they just crossed their arms and said, that's it. Which I think is a bit unfair because I actually kind of really enjoy Exorcist the beginning. It tells the story of Father Merrin's first encounter with the demon, Pazuzu, when he was a young priest in Africa struggling with his faith, which is a pretty good way to show his eventual relationship, with quick though it was, with Father Karras in the Exorcist movie. Now, I will say this, in terms of tone, it's very different from The Exorcist. The Exorcist takes its time to tell a story, and The Exorcist is not, contrary to what a lot of people think, a horror movie. It's a faith movie. It was written by a faithful Catholic man. It's about faith. It's about the struggle of the modern mind, the logical mind, versus the faithful mind. And it's about those themes way before it's about anything horrific. And it takes its time to tell the story of the people before, it becomes strictly horror. This movie is more like getting to the point of the horror. And if you can forgive that, I think this movie deserves a lot more credit than it gets. I actually greatly enjoy it. It also is not, a horror romp.
Yeah.
It's not guts and, it's none of that. It takes its time building the character.
What kind of movie are you?
This is my horror romp movie.
Apparently. There's guts flying up and shit.
Yeah, man. It takes its time with the character, and it establishes a history that makes sense with Father Merrin, and it really builds up to this final confrontation with the demon that, although affects heavy, I know a lot of people bitched about that, but I thought, you know what? We have this more subtle, freakish, and ultimately very scary confrontation with Pazuzu in The Exorcist already. Why would you duplicate that?
Yeah, why would you do it again?
Instead, give us something more dramatic here. And they do that. And for better or for worse, I actually greatly enjoyed it. And I really, really think this movie deserves a lot more credit.
You enjoyed it so much, you almost fought a man to death at the Goodwill because he almost took your copy.
Yeah, he touched upon my copy, and I said, "Fuck Snow, that's mine," and here it is.
Yep.
The point is, I greatly enjoy that movie. I hope you'll revisit it with me. I don't remember. Did you see it?
No, I didn't. I only saw that little bit of the other one.
Oh, okay. So we'll.
I remember being really orange too. I remember I had a very orange look, which was kind of creepy.
You know what's funny? All the screenshots I've seen of it have that.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
I think it was an aesthetic choice.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll visit those when we do our Exorcist retrospectives. But I think it deserves a lot more attention than it gets.
Mm-hmm.
Another one I think deserves a lot of attention was a prequel to a remake that got... The remake was received well financially by the general audiences. And a lot of people seem to have enjoyed it. And they definitely paid to see it. Horror fans, on the other hand, were like, fuck that shit. Michael Bay's involved in this bitch, so we don't like it. And look look at this color scheme. We don't like that, and whatever, Ultimately, I think those were just, very superficial, shallow claims from everybody. I don't like Michael Bay either. This has been established. He fucking licks. But I actually really enjoyed the remake of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And just to clear things up, Texas Chainsaw Massacre is my favorite horror movie, possibly of all time. There's an entire corner of my place that's dedicated to it.
Yeah, you met Leatherface.
Yeah, apparently, according to everybody.
Yeah.
But, yeah, man, I love the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. There is no touching the original. But this was a good, different reimagining of it. Because that's really what it was. They took the same concept and restructured it. They didn't have the audacity to go, we're going to make Drayton Sawyer again, and we're going to make Nubbins again, or none of that stuff. They took the basic framework and just put new faces on it, put a new skin on it, if you will. And really the only familiar thing was the Leatherface and the basic structure, but there was something different to it. And I really enjoyed it. Now, I respect that people didn't like it. That's fine. But what I don't get is people just shoving the prequel, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the beginning, into a corner and damning it because of its predecessor.
Yeah.
Like it or not, the predecessor, just leave that in the window. Because this prequel takes place before it and it stands alone on its own. You don't even have to watch the predecessor. Yeah. It establishes shit all on its own.
Personally, wasn't a big fan of the first one. Like the prequel.
Yeah, the prequel is sheer brutality from wall to wall.
Your anus will shrivel.
Yeah, it's not easy to watch. It's very visceral. It does provide a great starting point for what I thought was a pretty badass set of family members that had already been in the movie. But unlike The Hobbit, it doesn't do the mistake of trying to reset them up and all this. It just expands on what you already know and gives it that origin boost. And actually reveals interesting stuff, not like the origin of a fucking jacket, like in Wolverine Origins. It really provided a sense of how big the family was, how integrated they were into their town, and it gives a real in-depth look at the Leatherface character. It was really good, man. And again, the brutality factor, it was one of the most morally and emotionally fucked up movies you could see. There's no winning. Everybody's gonna die, period. But it was awesome. I loved it, which is something else I could say about the other prequel to the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and that's a prequel that was made just this past year 2017, or still this year 2017. It's almost gonna be 2018. That's what I'm getting at here. But it was made in 2017, and that's the prequel. It's a modern prequel to the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. That was Leatherface, which I also greatly enjoyed. And again, it really creates its own flavor for itself. It's not what I expected it to be, but what I got, I was actually pretty fucking pleased with. I remember you being pleased with it too. Maybe not to the extent
I didn't love it, but I liked it quite a bit.
Yeah, and it was one of those that the more I thought about it, the more it grew on me. And it was just, again, another prequel that I think deserves a lot more attention than it got. I know the movie just kind of
flopped out.
Yeah, they just kind of shattered into the theaters, barely. It's a miracle we even got it here, to come to think about it.
True.
But
not gonna lie, we downloaded it.
Yeah, because we thought we weren't gonna get it.
Yep.
But anyway, here's another one that got shat on, and that's Red Dragon.
Oh, baby boy! Now, I do have to address the fact that I'm shifting a lot because my asshole hurts because we've been sitting for a long time. That being said, love me some Red Dragon.
Yeah, and this was from the man, the fucking legend. What's his fucking stupid name?
Brett Ratner.
Brett fucking
the best
Ratner.
Director.
Yeah, the best director on the planet, a.k.a. one of the worst, most reviled men in Hollywood.
Yep, and apparently diddles people.
Yeah, the renowned diddler.
Yep.
And he's just like one of those terrible people that is a complete asshole.
He looks like a shithole.
He hasn't directed many good movies.
Nope.
You know, he directed some commercially successful ones like the Rush Hour movies.
Yeah.
But
he even shot that bed.
Yeah, good? No. But Red Dragon was pretty good. And there was already a Red Dragon adaptation that was Manhunter, which I also greatly enjoyed. But I gotta say, I enjoyed this one just as much.
Yeah, I'm one of the minority in which that says this one, that enjoys this one more than Manhunter. Mainly, probably because I saw it before, and I wasn't as pleased with Manhunter's adaptation. But Red Dragon kicks ass. I thought it was great.
Yeah, it is pretty fantastic. I will say this: Edward Norton's hair is not good in it, but other than that, yeah, it was. I guess every director at least has one chance to make something good, and that was his.
That was his, yeah.
That was the one right there for old Brady.
Yep, I bought the tape. That's how good it is. Didn't you buy?
Speaking of Hannibal Lecter, because that was a prequel to.
In case you were wondering what it was for,
we also got another prequel because they decided, hey, Red Dragon did pretty good.
Yeah.
Let's tell Thomas Harris to write something, and Thomas Harris not wanting to let any other person sully the sequel, the prequel. I mean, sully the Hannibal character. He said, "Well, I'll do it. I'll write this book at like voluminously super speeds."
About halfway, he was like, "Meh."
And so he wrote Hannibal Rising, which was not a good book and was not a good movie. Now
I haven't seen this one. I haven't seen it. It's the only one I haven't seen.
Yeah, it was.
Because you said it sucked ass.
Yeah. The guy portraying Hannibal Lecter, although, I mean, it's hard. It's one of those where it's like, dude, Anthony Hopkins played him. You know, and it's kind of hard. Yeah. But he did a good job. It's just what was there was not good. You know, it tried too hard to be hard.
Oh.
And it was not. You don't see Hannibal coming from that Hannibal.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's one of the major problems with it. You don't see him coming out of that and being the character we know eventually. It had moments, but ultimately it was just kind of boring and sluggish, and it had none of the impact that any of their movies had. So, a failure for me. I don't know if you'll think the same when you eventually see it, but we'll see, I guess.
I guess you could count the TV series.
Yeah, in a sense you can, except that it adapted them in order.
Yeah.
And it wasn't part of a series, so I guess you can't.
True.
But it's worthy to note that the Hannibal series is, again, not only a great adaptation of the books and the events, alluded to in the books, but also managed to actually cast somebody that took on the role and made it theirs. Yeah, so that's pretty cool. Big nod to Mads, which has the best name ever.
Greatest name ever.
The last one I kind of want to talk about is kind of like the universe prequels, which is a thing happening now, especially in horror. Like Paranormal Activity 2 and 3 are prequels to Part 1. Insidious 3 is a prequel to Part 1 and 2. Annabelle 1 and 2 are prequels to prequels of an element in the Conjuring movies. And so is The Nun upcoming now. So this is kind of like a thing in horror now, apparently. Standalone prequels. And I gotta say, so far,
it's pretty good.
Pretty fucking good track record. You know what I'm saying? I love the Annabelle prequels. And The Nun, I hope it's good.
Yeah.
I even liked Insidious 3, though I think it was robbed of some of its impact because Insidious 1 and 2 are so fucking good, and you already inherently know that that's like the scariest cases that have been confronted. So by default, this kind of has to be a prequel where it's not as scary, and it also kind of has a bit of the Wolverine element. Not like that, but in terms of it provides moments rather than... It's richer for its moments rather than for its story. You know what I'm saying? In terms of as a fan of the Insidious movies, you're kind of like, oh, that's cool to know how that happened or how these people came across each other.
This jacket.
Or yeah, thankfully not to that level, but yeah, that sense.
Yeah.
So in that sense, it's pretty cool, and it does have some cool set pieces. But yeah, it's kind of robbed of the impact because part 1 and 2 are so fucking good. But the point is, that's one of those that wouldn't work by itself had you not previously seen the other two. So there's that to take into account. But yeah, overall, I think that's probably, I think by far, so far we've seen that the horror genre is the one that's handled the prequel thing the best.
Yeah.
Of all the prequels that we've mentioned.
Yeah.
And that sci-fi apparently has handled them the worst.
Woo!
But yeah, man, prequels. Oh, I'll mention one more horror prequel that I greatly enjoyed, and that's Final Destination 5. Which I know you haven't seen, so I guess I've just ruined it for you.
Yep.
But the whole thing was...
Twist, it's a prequel.
Look, for this fucking thing is... Here's the thing. Let me put it this way. Final Destination 1 became kind of like a thing,
Yeah.
People were like, oh, this is cool. It was
successful.
successful.
We would go drive to the cinemas when it was in the cheapos and watch them babies die.
Yeah. I mean, it was a fun little story. And it was a good way to catch some cool little fun deaths.
Yep.
Which is kind of morbid, but there it is.
Yep.
But then part 2 kind of ratcheted up the ante, added a little humor into it.
Logs and shit.
And yeah, it had pretty intense sequences, so that was pretty neat. Part 3 was kind of like, well, I mean, that was fine. You know.
Tony Todd in that one?
Yeah.
That was a thing.
So you're like, all right. I mean, he's in all of them except for one of them, but it's like...
Oh, he is?
Yeah.
That's
like,
how much I remember him.
He's like, all right, well, that was a movie. Then part 4 came along. Man, that fucking thing sucks. And it has the audacity to call itself The Final Destination.
Yeah, it does.
That is one of the worst fucking movies I have ever seen. Talk about the stupidest deaths and circumstances whereby people die ever. It was the worst, man. I am pissed. And it was shot for 3D.
Oh, no.
So was part 3, though. And they didn't go into these levels of stupidity. So all the gag deaths look horrible, man. Just terrible. Why is it shooting at my face?
Why is their fingers falling?
Yeah, it was terrible. And, there's a lot of CGI because of that. And it looks bad. It looks just horrid. So when part 5 came out, nobody cared by then because of part 4. But you're watching it and you're like, oh, man, this is touching on some good shit here. This is going back to 1 and 2 level style, intensity. And then it ends. And you realize that these are the events that led to the events of part 1. And you're like, what? My brain just blew out my fucking head. It was pretty cool, man. Just ruined it for you.
Yep.
Like that?
Now I'm like, well, not gonna watch this movie. Also, my ass hurts.
No, it's pretty
No,
pretty worth watching. Despite that, it's just made all the cooler by the fact that you're like, oh shit, this all led to that.
That's pretty good.
That's pretty neat. But yeah, man. So prequels, I guess we're just gonna get them forever now.
Yeah.
And I guess they'll continue to go virtually unnoticed.
Yep.
But that's okay because by and far it seems that most of them are pretty good. So
except for the
prequels, that is to say Star Wars, which are fucking terrible. But anyway, that's been our little chat about prequels. And on our official TDC podcast, copyright 2 million years ago.
I love how the copyright is held by TDC, not TDS.
Oh yeah. You know what I was thinking? Texas Department of Corrections.
All right.
Where I've been. So there you go.
So we don't know what the copyright to our channel. TDC does.
Apparently prison does.
Yep.
But anyway, this has been Ahab and the Goon Tick. Let us know what you think about prequels. What are some of your favorite? What are some of we missed? That's right, missed.
What is this speed? you were talking the whole time. Now you're losing it. TDC and then Meast.
Hit like, share, and subscribe.
What is this outro?
And hit those notifications. And we're out.
All right.